I was talking with one of my neighbors recently, honestly, just about life and, about how the kind of things that happen to people that don't come with easy answers, like loss or diagnosis or unexpected news, those moments that completely change everything. We both sat there and we admitted something. Sometimes, there's not a clean explanation. Like sometimes all you have is the weight of it. In John chapter 11, it helps you see things a little bit differently. John chapter 11 is where Lazarus dies. And when Jesus arrives, the Bible says something so simple. Jesus wept. 2 words. But those 2 words, for me, it changes the way that I see pain. Because listen, Jesus knew what the outcome was going to be. Jesus rose Lazarus from the dead, but before that, he wept. And it wasn't like God just told him that. No, he knew what he was going to do. He knew that everything was going to be okay in the end, and he still wept. That should tell you that grief is not weakness. Tears, they're not lack of faith, and pain doesn't mean that God stepped away. Look, when Martha says, "Lord, if you would have been here," that wasn't rebellion, that was heartbreak. Jesus didn't correct her theology. He stood in her sorrow, and he grieved with her. So it's like, what do you do when those answers aren't there? When you don't understand why you're going through this, when it feels heavy, look, don't fake strength. Don't be like, "I got this, man, I'm good." Don't rush healing. Just bring it to God, honestly. Maybe it's something that you've never done before. Maybe you've never been that type of person. Man, maybe this is telling you, but whatever you're going through, just stop and just pray and just bring it to God. If you've got questions, if you're disappointed with what's going on, take it to God. Look, Mary and Martha, they didn't hide their disappointment from Jesus. They brought it straight to him, and he didn't push them away. God is near the brokenhearted. And here's the real hope. Weeping was real, but it wasn't final. Resurrection was still part of the story. And Jesus knew that, and he still grieved with them. You might be in the grieving part or the weeping part right now, but your story, it's not over. Look, the same exact Jesus who stood in that grief still stands in ours. I promise you, God's not afraid of your questions. God's not mad at your tears or your questions. None of that. Sometimes hope's not loud. Sometimes hope is literally just waking up tomorrow, praying, even if it's short, and taking the next small step, and just trust that God's still writing.